Welcome back. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I want to say thank you for tuning in. Today, in reality, thanks for easy content. Got to talk about a comment that really got me thinking in a way that it has to force me to look at my own self and what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm looking for and what it is that's going on with me on my day-to-day basis. A comment is someone stating, you used to use tools with the other dogs, and now you don't, but yet now they're good. And I think that what you're trying to state the fact of is the reason that they listen today is because I was able to fade the tools away. And that's what I'm going to say is no, it didn't. The tools didn't fade away. The tools went away because I don't want to use the tools anymore. But does that mean that the dogs listen to me because of said old work that's been done with it? No, because I still needed it. I still relied on it all the time. Everything, every day, every situation, I had to have something on them. My Johnny, to take him in public, he absolutely had to have. I could not take him out without, at bare minimum, a prong collar. He uses e-collar pretty decent, but he functioned amazingly well with that prong collar on. I could not take him in public without it. It was a mandatory thing. It didn't just fade away one day. It faded away the day that I decided I no longer want to do this anymore. And then Kahi, the same way. It was mandatory. It was the e-collar. The prong collar didn't really do much for him, but the e-collar spoke his language. It spoke to him. When I would give him a tap on that, he looked right at me and says, I know exactly what that means, buddy. And I'm coming. I'll be right there. I'm laying down. I'm staying here. I'm sitting here. I'm not challenging. He didn't challenge a single thing that I asked of him when I had that collar on. It didn't fade away. I took it away one day, and I just had to deal with what I would say is the repercussions of me and my relationship with my dogs to figure out how to be able to get better. And someone might think that, oh, the dog, because you used it, that's why the dogs are good. That's not the way it works. And unless you've been living in this situation and you've done it, you don't quite understand. You don't quite understand exactly how all of this stuff works. Because there was a time and day in reality that straight up, still, I don't even 100% had lived it, so I'm not even gonna talk about it. But I do know there is a way to make the tools never have to appear. It takes, what I'm gonna say is, more time. I can get stuff done with an e-collar in, forget the e-collar, I get stuff done with a slip leash in a weekend. I can make things look really, really nice with that simple leash. And the main thing is, I have to keep it on me. That's why for me, I mean, a lot of my videos that I would speak of, I had to have the leash on me. So I'd keep one in my pocket. I had this little tiny one that I always had that I would just have in my pocket. Because you know why? If the dog didn't come back to me, all I would have to do was open this pocket, pull that leash out, show it to the dog, and the dog's like, I'll be right there, because I know what that means. The dog knows exactly what that means. But I no longer have that on me. I no longer have anything on me. I'm able to do what someone will classify as incredible things with the slip leash. But I always needed it. I always needed the prong. I always needed the e-collar. I always needed it. It always needed to be there. I was just never able to just make it disappear. And in reality, that's what the training that I see constantly keeps going on today. All the trainers that I watch, that they even say it out of their mouths. The equipment disappears, but their own dogs, it's still on there. It's still there. They're selling you a dream that is not real. A dream of, we just put this stuff on and we use it, and eventually it's going to disappear. But yet, how come it doesn't disappear? That's the part that I really want a lot of people to really understand. And also at the same time, understand something. All dogs are different. Your dog is different than my dog. I don't care if your dog looks the same as mine. I don't care if your dog has similar traits as mine. Your dog is different than mine. And each of my dogs are all completely different with what they all are. Each of them are very, very, very different. This border collie, he is like the most, I want to say, agreeable is not the word, but his whole living existence is to please me. That's like all that his world consumes, is to please me. He wants to be near me. He wants to do everything I'm asking him to do. He doesn't give much of any kind of pushback. He's like, let's go get some stuff done. And he wants to listen to everything that I have to say. And my Johnny, in reality, a year later after I've taken all the equipment away, he's pretty much the same way. Not 100%, but he is very, very similar in a way that he wants to. And my shepherd, my goodness, anybody knows what a German shepherd is. That dog, in my opinion, is the words of man's best friend. They're able to do some incredible things. They are so in tune with wanting to please so badly. But that comes down to not only just being fair, but just respecting and trusting the animal. And that's not what I was doing before. I wasn't being fair and I wasn't trusting and respecting. But once I started to do that, I started to open up an entirely new branch here, an entirely new situation where the dogs have no desire, but only just wanted to please me. Whereas I have other dogs, such as a Great Pyrenees. The dog has zero, not zero, but like 10% of caring about what it is that I'm saying that I'm looking for. 10%. 10%. He is in his world. He's doing what he's doing. He stays here in reality, and the best way I can explain it to him is, or explain it to anyone else is, he gets free and easy food. He gets to be able to do his work whenever he wants. He's free to do his work. He has the ultimate level of what I would say is freedom to a dog. Now, he may not have enough space, but at the end of the day, he doesn't really care to walk around all day and monitor the entire property. He just likes monitoring what it is that he's monitoring. Those dogs are not bred to be so lovey-dovey with human beings. They're bred to just do what they do. And that animal there, for me to try to, I'm not even going to attempt to say work with that dog, because for one, he better need to stay focused on his mission. I don't lose chickens. I don't lose animals. So he's on board with what his mission is all about. But he's not a dog that's just like all about doing for me. He's about, in reality, straight up selfish, doing for himself. And he needs to be able to do that because he's doing stuff that I'm not here with him. He's the only dog, outside of the Dalmatian as well too here, but he's the only dog that I have that I'm not out here with him for him to do his work. I have to be out here for the dogs to move the chickens around. I have to be out here for the dogs to move the cows around. I have to be engaged doing it with them. I can't just send them out and let them do it and I go in the house and I just disappear and they just do it. They don't work that way. But the Pyrenees, I don't need to be nowhere near the dog. He'll take care of business for me. I don't need to coach him. I don't need to give him good boy, good girl, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a good job. I don't need to do nothing. He just does what he does. When you have a dog like that, trying to convince that dog to stay where you want that dog to stay, that's where I'd say is good luck. If you're trying to get one like mine already, who knows, I don't know how old he is. I think he's 4-year-old, and just try to convert him to be into that, like said, house pet that you're looking for. He may stay in the house. He's gone in the house once or twice, but he's not the dog that's just, he's been born and raised doing what he's doing. So to try to come in and tell this dude, no, you better sit because I said sit, that's going to be don't let that dog growl at you or show teeth. I mean, this is a big dog. It's a big dog. This dog can fit your head in his mouth. He's a big boy. He's got a lot of weight to push around. And that's why a lot of people don't really have all that great success with doing such things as a lot of Great Pyrenees just go into the woods and just come back to you. Doing obedience routines with Great Pyrenees. Doing anything in reality outside of just taking the dog for a walk. That's all that we see people do with Great Pyrenees. Just take it for a walk and hopefully we can get it to sit. But try to get it to do a sit stay for distractions, trying to do all this extraness, they typically just do it when they want to do it. And even if you do tell it to sit, it's more likely because the dog is just straight up, I'll do it because I'm deciding now. You're not telling me to do that. And the dog will end up making it happen. That's what I'll say is that 10%, maybe 20% that they listen to us. But as far as everything else, they're on a mission. They're just doing what they're doing. That's why for me it's fascinating on how some people get in your feelings about what it is that you're doing. And why for me, I'll always state that the main trickery that goes on with a lot of professional dog training, because people are showing dogs that are like my shepherd, because a lot of them use shepherds actually. A lot of them use the Malinois that are very eager to please, but yet still they have equipment on their dogs though. They got tools on there because from my opinion, I just don't believe that a lot of people have the patience to be able to get certain dogs to be able to relax, because the tools allow you to fast track some stuff. I'm the long game here. It's going to take me a long time. So when someone comes back at me and says, oh, clearly what you're doing isn't working because you're putting a leash back on your dog again, I'm going to say I put it back on a dog that cares about me about 30% out of the 10% that my Pyrenees does. Dalmatian, she doesn't give a crap about me the way that my other dogs care about me. She wants it when she wants it. She desires what she desires. And I see this a lot from a lot of this specific breed of a dog. I see that they are all pretty much the same type of way. Their brains are always like over there. Their brains aren't focused on me. No matter what I'm doing. Even right now, she's not really, if I had everyone in that down say, even that one video, the two dogs are looking at me and the Dalmatian is like, she's somewhere else. She's living her world. She's in her, she's like, I'll listen to you, but I don't really care to. I want to go do what I want to do. And that brings a level of complexity to some, but patience and joy to me, to be able to show me, to be able to relax even more down what it is that I'm doing. And someone would say, oh, you're going backwards, you're going back. And I would say, no, I'm not going back. I'm going forward and doubling down into what I know is going to be able to give me what I want in my future, because I need that patience. Because I'm working with a dog compared to my border collie, so that 0 to 100 scale, my Pyrenees is 10 to 20% paying attention to me. This Dalmatian is like 20 to 30% paying attention to me. My border collie, he's like 90 to 100% all about me. My shepherd, he's like 80 to 90% all about me. My Johnny, he's like 70 to 80% all about me. And now I'm working with dogs on the complete opposite side of that. That's what I think is neat about just using different dogs and being able to get what it is you're looking for. So since I've been seeing some results in that with said no tools, I'm now doubling down like crazy into it, giving me more time, giving me more to be able to just have delayed gratification and slow down what it is that I'm looking for. Just slow it down. Just slow it down to the point that I want something that I want. And that's for each of us to figure out what it is that we want. But again, the biggest problem that a lot of us have is we're looking somewhere and then we're trying to ask certain questions and ask certain things that, that you don't know anything about. You don't have any extra insight. You don't have any extra understanding. But yet I do, because I'm actually living it and I'm actually deal with it and I'm involved in it. My dogs don't have tools on today. My certain ones, I treat with obedience. Did that mean that now that's why they're listening because of that? No, because I still needed that. I couldn't dance around this world without obedience, with especially Kai and with especially Johnny. I couldn't do anything without the tools. It was mandatory, and it didn't fade away. It didn't just, oh, it just disappeared today. Because what happens is the first time that that dog challenges you based on what are you going to do about it, because this is what they do. That's why you have to keep on using. I said, like, you may not have to give like such a harsh correction. You may not have to pull the leash all that much, but you still have to do something to let that dog know that that tool is there. Especially the prong collar. It's a great tool for manipulation. The dog can feel it. It knows what it feels like on its neck. It's got a different sensation compared to a flat collar. Completely different sensation. And the dog will like go into it slightly, and then it's like, okay. And then they don't challenge it for the day. They let it go. The next day they do it again. They're like, oh, it's still there. They don't challenge it for the day, and they let it go. And they just keep doing that and doing that and doing that. But yet when you take that off, this goes across the board to every single person that I know that especially uses that specific collar. That dog, it challenges it, and then if you just put a flat collar on it, the dog goes and it just starts to pull on you again. You're like, what the heck's going on here? What the heck's does that mean that we train the dog? Because in my opinion, that doesn't show any level of training. That just shows that you know how to use something to said get into the dog's brain of, or else you're going to stay with me. That doesn't show training. That doesn't show that the dog actually understands what it is that we're doing. That just shows, in my opinion today, how I see it, just how to get something, a quick fix. You put duct tape over the tire to try to get it to stop leaking air. Does it stop leaking air? Yeah, but you got to keep adjusting it. You got to keep working at it. You got to keep doing something. As opposed to dismounting the tire, plugging it up, filling it right, putting the cement around it, putting it back on, airing it up, and you're good to go. But that takes way more time. That takes way more effort. That takes way more, even just at the end of the day, skill to do, as opposed to just putting a duct tape on it. And I got out of the duct tape because I had to keep repairing, and I had to keep repairing. Then I had to scratch the whole thing and put something new on it that was more adhesive to try to keep this repair keep going. That's not what I want to do. And I would hope to be able to explain to someone and hope that someone just kind of would just understand that there's some things that we just have to do that can't know. This is the thing about, in reality, the video that I made yesterday. There's stuff that, no, not yesterday, but I think 2 or 3 days ago. There's stuff that you just have to try. You got to try it. Because no matter what somebody says to you, this is the part with me and how I'm able to fast track my life today. Because I no longer need to try stuff that I listen and verify from a whole lot of other people say this doesn't work. And then I just skip it because I don't go by just one person though. I listen to many, I see many examples, and I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna work or waste my time doing that. But some of y'all, you need to just try it. Because no matter what I say, you're not gonna be in belief. So if you're a person right now that is questioning on what it is that I do and questioning maybe the prong collar is for my dog, try it. Try it. If as long as it's not illegal for you, try it. Just slap it. I mean, I ain't gonna say that. But as long as it ain't illegal for you, just try it. Put it on your dog and prove to yourself that you're gonna be able to get the results. Prove to yourself. Because something that I'm gonna say straight up, most cases, anyone that is gonna try to challenge me, you're using that stuff and you're not getting results, and you're wondering what the heck's going on here. And then you would hear a story about me saying that I used to use it and seeing that my dogs are now listening, thinking that, oh, I did figure out how to be able to fade it away. I didn't fade the tools away. I took the tools away. I didn't throw them away yet, but I threw the tools away from my dog. I just restrict them from them. I just said, you guys are never going to have this again. You're never going to be a part of this again. I didn't fade it away because there's a proper way of fading equipment away, which is doing certain things day by day, week by week, month by month, by being able to explain to that dog. The best way I can explain to you how to fade something away is this may work. I don't know though, but this is how I know how to fade food away. You go to the, what do you call it? The every other, the every third, the every fourth, the every fifth treat. So when you would usually give your dog a said pull on the leash, but this is what's complicated with the like such said prong collar over the e-collar, because the dog always knows that it's on. You can't quite trick them to think that it's not there. There's all kinds of methods that you can watch on YouTube with these guys trying to show how to try to teach the dog like, oh, it's not really on you, but they know it's on them. These dogs aren't stupid. Their necks are soft and sensitive. They know what's going on. And there's no real way to really trick them outside of if e-collar is best way, if the dog does something and you don't push the button and see what the dog does. And then you do that every other day, every something like that. But I just know, based on my own dogs and dogs that I've worked with a lot of people's dogs, the dog, you can fool the dog once, fool the dog twice, but you're not going to keep fooling the dog over and over and over again. And that's where most people get into the aggravation. And that's why at the end of the day, most everyone that goes down the route of treats or tools of any sort with their dogs, especially dog trainers here on the YouTube, they always still have that stuff on their dogs. They may have a video where it's not there, but of next video, they'll have it on. Next video, it's gone. Next video, it's back again. It just depends on the environment of what they need to be able to like explain to that dog. Some environments are like, for instance, my environment here at home. For me here, I live the opposite of most people. My environment at home is the most complicated as opposed to going out in public. I don't have near as much stuff in public as I do at home. Whereas most people, you have more stuff in public than you do at home. So for me, I needed more tools, more equipment at home than I did going out in public. And I've noted that this is where it's a very interesting experiment for me personally, to be able to realize what works and what doesn't work, how you can't really just trick the dogs and fake it to the dogs, because I get to be able to go out my front door and start working at it just instantly right away. And I don't need to go to the park, drive half hour away. I don't need to do that to realize how my dog is going to, how my dog acts here at home is how my dog acts wherever I take them. I have a little learning curve to just show them of extra people and extra dogs and bikes and cars and things like that. But that learning curve is much easier, I guess I could say, compared to a cow, compared to the donkey, compared to all my chickens that are just running around. I don't know what it is, but the chickens get the dogs. Because they don't, some of them, they're neat animals because they're individual animals. They push back. They don't just run away. Most run away, but some push back. And they be making noises and doing what they're doing and running. Some can fly and they can run really fast, and they really get the dogs. They really get them. It's such a huge challenge. So for me, in reality, if I'm a person that wants to be able to get my dog through its prey drive the fastest the most, my other method is to go to the park where I know a bunch of squirrels are, where I know a bunch of the duck and the geese are. That's where I'm going to spend most of my time. I'm not going to worry about going nowhere but there. I want to go where the biggest distraction is. And I'm going to stand as far a distance as I can up front and then just get closer and closer and closer. That's where I'm going to spend most of my time, all of my time. And if you got a dog that is just, I mean, like I said, my border collie, he's a little crazy. The dude will go after leaves. I'll have a leaf blower on somewhere where there's leaves and just blow it, just have the leaves go and just have him with me, just so that he can see it, to be able to just relax that down, to be able to just not make it so intense that it's just so wild and it's so crazy. That's what I do. And that's the route that I go, because I actually get to the point that I don't need equipment because I never even started it. I never even got into it. And the biggest problem I had, especially with my Johnny Man, and especially with my Kahi, that y'all don't get to see, that I don't really even talk too much about, but I talk a little bit about, but the process of, I mean, I had a whole video I talked about Johnny, the process of when you take the equipment away and what your dog's going to be like. That was probably the most biggest challenge of my life, because I, at one moment, one day, had extreme control over the dog. I said sit, I said down, I don't care about sit, but it's mainly my down. I would say down. Am I down in my recall? You better be here. I don't care what you're doing right now. I don't care if your leg is falling off and it's broke. You better be next to me in a perfect heel position. That's what I required, especially of my Shepherd Kahi. You better be next to me. I don't care what's around. I don't care what's going on. And then the day that you take it off and you can't be able to reinforce that, you better. That dog turned into an absolute nightmare to me. An absolute nightmare. The dog that I thought really liked me. I took him for walks for hours a day, 6, 7 days a week, most days. Most weeks, and we spent a lot of time together. And I was like, this dog really likes me. Until the day that I took that equipment off and I couldn't be able to give him a stem on that collar, I found out my dog doesn't like me. And I went through struggles. I mean, struggles, just beat, broke down struggles. Struggles and struggles. Beyond struggles and struggles. And that dog looked at me like, I don't really care about you, buddy. I don't care about you. I don't want to be near you, buddy. I don't want to do nothing with you. So he went right back to pulling on leash. So that's why I put him in his harness and I just let him pull in the harness. And I just went for walks like that. I just dealt with that. Someone else may not deal with that, but I dealt with that. I've dealt with him being straight up a bully to me so that I can be able to just get through that. And it took a long time until we're just now. So I took his collar off in August of last year. I took that e-collar off. I'm pretty sure it was August of last year. It might have been July. Because it was right around my birthday that I was like, I don't want to do this no more last year. I took that off. And it was, we're in August, middle August, so it's been over a year that he's just now today, this past couple of weeks, getting to the point that I feel confident of letting him off leash on the trails and the places that I go to today. Just now. I was still keeping him on leash when there's people around because I was only letting him off leash in just like 2-3 miles out on the trail. I didn't just open the van door up and let him out because he started to do wild stuff. I mean, this dude would be gone. He's just sniffing, and he was gone. But I was walking this dog for 2 years before then, every single day. I thought I had the greatest relationship with the dude. And I come to find out it was fake. And the tool didn't fade away. The tool disappeared. And the real dog came out. And then I had to go way back and start to work completely differently. This is the part that I think that when we get in our feelings because our stuff isn't working fast enough, that's proving to you that your patience, you need work on still. You still need to work on that. You still need to keep dialing that in on your own self because you're putting and projecting out something extremely negative to an animal that doesn't understand that. It doesn't understand what's going on. It only understands, in my opinion, being relaxed and being calm. The dogs just do not understand frustration because most of the times when we go into frustration, it's like the dog's mission to get us happy again. It's like the dog's point, and straight here again, each dog is different with that. Where your collies and your shepherds and a lot of these dogs, they are so eager to please that they, Oreo, that they just do anything at all for you. They're just smothering you. They're like, I'm there for you. So when they see you frustrated, they see you angry, they're like, they do the extra, they do the most in a sense of trying to like get you to get happy again. And that's the last thing that most, unfortunately, human beings need when you're frustrated. The last thing you want is something to push you to like, let's have fun, let's be happy. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? And then you just double down into putting more pressure upon as opposed to getting into a better place. What you doing, man? You just double down. You double down into, I need more pressure, as opposed to just seeing that the dog in reality is straight up, folks. Look at your dog differently and see that your dog is trying to help you. It's not trying to hurt you. It's not trying to destroy you. It's not trying to be disobedient to you. It's not trying to do that to you. It's trying to do, the worst case is how my Dalmatian and my Pyrenees are. They're just living their life. And they want us to just feed them and supply them with some little extras here and there, but they're capable of just living their life. They're doing what they're doing. And then these other dogs, they want to please us so much. That's why the main thing here is, something I wanted to start up before back in the days, is a dog matchmaking service. Some of y'all that are just quick to anger and have problems like this, you need a dog like a Dalmatian. A dog that's gonna leave you alone when it sees you like that. It sees you a little irritated, it's just like, just leave that alone. You don't want a border collie. You don't want a shepherd. Because when that dog sees you like that, it's in it to like, ooh, let's boost your spirits up, buddy. Let's push you a little bit more to get you better. And that dog is gonna drive you crazy because it's gonna look at your frustration and think of it as, I gotta reverse that and put that into excitement because it just doesn't know how to be on its own. Can we teach dogs to be independent, to be, Oreo, teach dogs to be independent, to be on their own. Yeah, but that takes time. That takes time on time. Time that, unfortunately, most of y'all just don't have. You don't have. You have what you have. And in my opinion, still, it's because of something that you need to work on. Something that you need to start to really figure out about how to be able to get through, how to be able to deal with. And for me, I'm working with multiple types of animals here, not just the same dog over and over again. That's the unfortunate thing that I see most trainers that do. Y'all work the same dogs, and then you're showing the same dog for display. And you're not really opening up to just the vast variety of all the different animals that are out here, all the different ones that are out here. Anyone that sees me with any of my dogs, they always like, oh, wow, that's fascinating. You got different stuff. I got different stuff. And that allows me, for me, to be able to teach and show, not so much as teach, but just explain what it is that I'm doing on a whole different level of realizing that each one is a little bit different. I'm not going to go at my Dalmatian the same way that I'm going to go at my Border Collie. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. She doesn't respond the same way. And with her responding very, very slowly, so if I would put a 0 to 100 in a sense of months, within a month or 3, I can get one of my dogs to look immaculate, look really good doing what I'm doing. But another dog, because it's how it's been with these dogs. With my Shepherd Kahi, it's been a year since I've been able to just really just feel confident about taking them places again with no equipment on them, no tools. It's taken a year to feel confident. It's taken over a year to feel confident with my Shepherd, Johnny, here, to be able to get him that way. My Oreo, it's taken 20 minutes. Instant. As fast as I put an e-collar on that dog, as fast as I took it off, because I realized we don't need this. We don't need it. He's that's not the word to use, but perfect, man. He listens. He's just so in tune with me. He's like, whatever you want, master, I'll get it done. I'm tired. You're tired? Let's still keep working. It's fine. I got it. We'll push through this. That's how he is. As opposed to my Dalmatian. What would take a year for them would probably is going to take 3 years. I said this up front when I got this dog. And I said this in many videos. This dog's probably going to be on leash with me for at least a year. At least. I'm 9 months in. And I've given her more space for the past 2 months. So I only did half of what I knew in my heart that I was wanting and needing to do. And that year might even be more than that. And I gave myself a little bit of a leeway because she's younger. My other dogs are older. The Border Collie's 6. Johnny is, I don't know how old you are. He's like 5 or something. He's got to be at least 5. He's 5, 6 years old. My Shepherd, he's like 5 or 6 years old. I don't know how old he is either. He's like 5 or 6. Those dogs are much older. So I was like, the time frame is going to be much more. So if it took me a year for them, it would take me like 3 months for another dog. But if I got another Border Collie, it would take me a couple of days to get that dog what I'm looking for in reality, straight up. And I've done this with taking other people's Border Collies that were having issues. I bring them here, and the dog is perfectly fine because I'm able to get that dog to look at me the way it should, as the world's greatest thing, and not show my frustration. When I would get frustrated, I would allow that animal to be able to uplift my spirits. Let's go for a run. Because that's what my Shepherd does. He can see me. He sees me around when I'm doing what I'm doing. He's like, let's go, man. We gotta go walk this out. We gotta go do something. You can't stay in this state. You gotta get uplifted, and I can uplift you. Because I can go out, we can go do stuff. Whereas my Dalmatian, I just have to be real with myself because it is what it is. She don't really care about me like that. She don't care about me. She's a dog that can go to anybody. If there's 100 people around and just me, I'm probably the last person she's going to be with, and straight up. She's going to keep walking and looking and going and just exploring and meeting people and meeting other dogs and just doing what she's doing. That's just who she is. That's the type of dog she is. So when I'm trying to, in reality, force her, because that's what I'm doing with keeping her on leash, is force her to just pay attention to me, it's going to take much, much longer. Much longer. Much, much more work behind it. Much more. But the big thing is, I don't need to rely upon a piece of equipment. I can see who the dog is when the dog is with me. How the dog is acting when the dog is on leash, that's how my dog is acting. But the main thing that I'm just looking for is more. I'm always striving to have something just what the average person has. I see what y'all do, but I do what I do. And to someone else, that's just too much work. But to me, it's just what I do. I always make sure that I'm going over and above with everything that I'm doing. Every scenario of my life, I'm going over and above. That's just my personality, how I am. What's inside of me to be able to be. And that's how I'm going to do with my dogs. So when I'm taking more time, it doesn't mean that I'm going back. It means I'm doubling down in what I'm doing. That's, I think, the confusion that a lot of people have. A lot of y'all double down into something. Again, the video that I made talking about double downing into your own work. instead of going into someone else's work. When I double down into my work, what I want to do, what I can see as being success, I'm going to get just leaps and bounds. Things are going to start to look better and better and better. But when I double down into something else over there, now I'm going to be struggling. And if I may not ever get anywhere. And for me personally, I didn't get anywhere with those dogs that I put all the tools on. I didn't get anywhere. I got further and further and further into needing it further and further and further. It wasn't going away. It was just getting more and more and more intense. More intense. Anyone that's ever been for a walk with me, with my shepherd, they can all confirm the fact of how many times that I would have to get on this dog about staying with me. It wasn't a joyful experience. To me, it was a nightmare. But to the outside public, from a distance, oh, it looks so pretty. It's so awesome. But you don't know what it was taking to get that look. And that's not for that. I'm not that way. I'm not about having something so someone out there can look at it and say like, wow, that looks nice. While I'm just living in something that is just absolute chaos. I'm not going to go on and buy a fancy house and a fancy car and wear fancy clothes and buy all this stuff. Be broke as all can be. Just so that someone else can look at me and say, wow, you're looking good. While I'm at home with nothing. I got nice stuff, but I got nothing inside of me. I want to have stuff inside of it. I want to be happy. I want to feel good. I want to know that things are good, and I don't care what the outside has to say. You know, that's a little sloppy looking. I don't know about that, but I am extremely happy with what it is that I have. And what's sloppy to someone else is not sloppy to you. And so for me, when people still see my stuff, I always get the same compliments from everyone. Wow, that's a well-disciplined dogs. They listen really, really good to you. Everywhere I go today, that's all that I hear people say about my dogs. And they say the same stuff over and over and over again. Those really nice dogs. Because there's a difference today in how I work with them and how I speak to them. It's no longer using the tool. It's using my voice. And what I want to say is, what still confuses a lot of people, is my relationship with that dog. Me being able to understand that dog being able to understand me, us being able to read each other. And now we're able to dance around this world with no issues. So I'm double downing in what I'm doing. And I still put my shepherd on leash. I never, ever, there was never a day, because I remember going for walks with this one girl. She said, I'd never seen you have a leash on this dog. I got yelled at one place because the park rangers, you need to put a leash on that dog. And I was like, okay, I'll put a leash on the dog. I never had a leash on that dog for years because he had an e-collar. But then, still to today, I still put that leash right back on him because I just want to dial in and double down deep into what it is that I'm doing, of being able to explain to him what I want without it having to get to the point of this is like this little battle that goes on. Oh, what are you going to do if I don't go over here? What are you going to do if I stop? What are you going to do if I keep going? No, just come back, dude. There's no reason to be going this back and forth. And that's the part that if someone, what I just said in this entire video, it doesn't make sense to you, just put the e-collar on your dog, put the prong on your dog, and start to work your dog with those methods and see if your dog is going to respond to you better. Just put it on, because clearly my words are meaningless to you. The words of anyone else is meaningless to you. Put the equipment on your dogs and see if your dogs just transform into this amazing oasis of experience that you're going to be able to have. Put it on your dogs. Slap it on. Go to the store. Go online. Grab you a Hermspringer. Buy at least the nice ones. Buy it. Get it sized right. Put it high and tight on your dog's neck. Get you a backup collar. Put it on just in case if it wants to break, because you apply it to whatever happens. Stuff happens in life. And put it on your dog and take your dog for a walk and start training your dog. Get your dog desensitized to it, as we would state. Apply a little bit of pressure. Your best bet is to apply a little pressure, give him a treat, apply a little pressure, give him a treat, let him know it's nothing dangerous, it's nothing bad. Then the dog feels it. And when your dog starts to react, your dog starts to do something, your dog does anything, just snap it a little bit more and see what your dog does. See if you're just going to have this bonding experience that your dog is going to get better with you. Just that's all. That's something that I can say is all that we can do as humans. You can either listen to someone who's been through that experience to explain to you a different way, or you could just go into that and actually try it. Stop looking online and do stuff. That's the one thing I think that struggles like majority of people today. You're not doing it. You're just like, you're searching and scanning for that next thing. I used to do this, trying to buy stuff. I gotta buy the best one. What phone do I want? I gotta research every single one. I gotta watch 1,000 hours worth of videos of every single one. Instead of just going out and doing stuff. Give me the phone that's going to be able to take the picture I want, and I just want to go and I want to get it done. Why I still use the same iPhone over and over and over again, because that's what it does. I can take a picture and I can go. I don't need to worry about what else is out there. I'm just going to work with what works. I'm going to use with what does it for me. And for me, it's simple and it's easy. Straight up. My phone I use compared to how I work and I train my dogs today. It's simple and it's easy, so I'm going to continue to keep on doing it. But the other stuff, like using Android phones, for instance, there's just too much for me. Too many buttons, too many this, too many that, too many apps, too many settings, too much. So someone, you like that because you like to have more control over the phone to be able to change this and change that. I don't care. I want to simply just go out and do stuff. So if that's my, in reality, recommendation to any and everyone that's just, you're so frustrated, especially if you try to be frustrated with anything that I'm saying, my goodness, go and try doing the opposite of what I say. Put all the tools in a dog and see that that's going to make your dog get better. Put it on them. And I'm going to, not guarantee, but because some people, they get good results for what you're looking for. Again, the biggest part that we need to look at and worry about, to what you're looking for. You get results, but I'm going to almost guarantee you that if you've already been watching and paying attention to me and what I talk about with these dogs, you're not going to get what you're looking for. You're going to get a superficial results. You're not going to get what you're actually truly desiring. And what I offer is something that you're going to actually truly desire in my heart, that I believe in the core of understanding. Because it's not only just worrying about working the dog, it's about working and training ourselves. It's about me explaining to you, you need more patience, buddy. You need more patience. You're patient. You're not patient enough. You need to slow down. You need to realize that the world is not just going to fall off a cliff if you just stand and hang out with your dog for a little bit. You don't need it this moment. It's okay to just relax. It's okay to calm down. And this is what you need, not your dog. You need. When I see dogs that are just jumping and running a fool, I always look at someone, I'm like, you need to sit down. You need a coffee break in the morning. You need to delegate your time a little bit better so that you can be able to have times throughout your day that you could just do nothing, but just relax a moment, to just realize how beautiful this life actually is, and then go back into your chaos again. But once you start to get into the level of finding calmness, you're going to want to figure out how to get further and further into that. And there's reasons on why I live and I do what I do, because I started to get addicted to that calm the same way that my dogs are. And I can't teach your dog that. I can only teach you that, because it's you that needs to be the one to change for the dog. The dog's not going to change for you. That's the most silliest thing. And how most comments I get when anyone has anything to say, that's how you view the world. They got to change because I'm perfect. I'm good to go. No, you got to change. You got to get more calm. You got to get more relaxed. You got to get way more patient. You got to become more forgiving. You got to be more kind. You have to be the one to be able to understand that there's things around you that are outside of your control. And once you start to be able to control your emotions, manage your own emotions, you're going to realize that the things around you are going to get much, much better. Thank you. The video I made yesterday is a perfect example, I believe, of who I am. I had to hear it from 1,000 different people say the same thing to me. But one person finally said it, and they got to me. And that's the same when it comes down to dog training, unfortunately, today, because of too many options. 1,000 people can say the same stuff to you, but one person is finally going to be the one to get to you. And based on how people write me and write other people, and I can see comments in other people's videos, that person isn't the person for you. And I know for a fact I'm not the person for most, probably 99% of people on this planet. I'm not the person for you. I'm the person for somebody, for someone. That here's what I say, and they're like, I hear you, buddy. I hear what you're saying. Because again, you may be able to listen, but you're not understanding what I'm saying. You're not understanding the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm saying words, and you're like, well, that makes sense, but you're not actually truly understanding the core of what I'm saying. The core of what I'm saying, your dog is not the problem, you are. You are. You are. You are the problem. You are the problem why your kids are acting a fool. You are the problem why your spouse is treating you the way they are. You are the problem why your employers and employees are treating you the way they are. You are the problem. You're the problem. It's not them. And if you don't understand that, there's still some things that you should watch other videos that maybe I could even recommend to you, but more than likely not, because they're the ones that spoke to me, and they may not also speak to you. That you may just reject all of everything that ever comes out of my mouth. And it's something that is just, it's fascinating. That, and why it's still at the end of the day, some people listen, understand, and they get good help with what I'm telling them to do. And others, y'all are just struggling because one understands it. They hear me. The other one, you're just listening. And you're like, this isn't going anywhere because it didn't work in 2 days. Again, years I'm talking here of transformation with dogs. I didn't get my dogs to take the tools off and just in 2 weeks, my dog is now good. No, in 2 weeks, my dogs were savage. They were a nightmare to be around. I couldn't stand them anymore. I unfortunately this summer didn't go for nearly as much walks with my Shepherd Kahi because of how much of a fool he was being. I just couldn't stand him. My walks turned into just irritating. It went from what seemed to be fun, what was pretty fun, to absolute irritating. I couldn't stand walking with the dude. Now I'm like, the weather's got to be just right. Just when years ago, I don't care what the weather was. We were out there. He doesn't care. This dude can go 110 degrees. It doesn't bother him. But me, it would bother me. And when it was a nightmare, I didn't want to take him nowhere. I didn't want to do nothing with him. And now we're just now slowly, surely getting there. A year plus later, we're slowly getting there. To most of y'all, there's no way you would do that. But for me, I'm trying to learn how to be the most patient person I could possibly be. Not for no one else, but for me. It's what I strive to be. Calm, patient, and kind, and being resilient, and just being compassionate. That's what I'm striving to be. And it may not be for everyone, but that's for me, what I'm looking for. And I want to do the best, be the best at it. As I stated before, I go over and above with everything I do. And with that, I'm going to go over and above with my patience. If that dog would pass away in 10 years and I still had to deal with it like this, I would still be that patient and still keep working at it. But I didn't need to work that long. It didn't take that long. It took longer than what probably most people are comfortable with. Me with my Dalmatians taking way longer than the average person. You're like, I got a new puppy. I want to be able to this. For me, I said a year. She's going to be stuck with me. I'm fine with that. You may not be fine with that, though. My level of patience and what I want to be able to become and achieve as a man on this planet says to me, that's nothing. A year? That's nothing, buddy. That's easy. That's nothing to even like worry about. Just get it done. Make it happen.